Yo, I don't care what anybody
Come on.
else says. This
Come
is the
on.
official start to the second half of the year, and everybody knows that. So we're talking about Chevy's first NFT didn't do so well. People controlling the Federal Reserve with their brains, with their minds, with their thoughts.
Mind tricks, baby.
What kind of? This is already feeling like a different day. We logged in on the live stream this morning, and Kyle was like, "What is going on?" Because
Dude.
I'm wearing a button-up shirt.
If you are not watching this, it's like if you're watching this, you're going, I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. And if you're not, yeah, see, that's what if you went full top button, I would get it. There's a lot of like top button flat bill guys out there. So I think you could put, yeah. See, I
go
think
this
we
way.
could roll that.
I feel like I need to start playing music and I have the top button up somehow. But it gives me an opportunity to wear the ASOTU pin, right? The little lapel pin. Yes. I got the shield. I got the A shield. We still have these, actually. If you refer some people to the email, you can get one of these for free, by the way. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. It was only a 3-day weekend. It felt like a week. Some people didn't even have a 3-day weekend, but we took Monday off, which is kind of a rare thing when we're both not working on the same day, right? If one of us takes a day off, the other one's usually working. Weird. I don't know, man. It's just like, it feels like so much happened in 3 days and not that much happened at the same time. If you haven't listened to it already.
Here's what happened in 3 days. I took 3 runs outside.
You did?
And
are you running
normally
again?
I run in the gym, right?
That sounds terrible.
And at the gym, you've got like all the TVs playing and you're doing people watching and all this type of stuff. But outside, Paul, outside is where the ideas happen.
You can go outside in Nashville in the summer.
I was in Ohio.
Oh,
but here's the thing is when I'm running outside and like the world is just at peace around me, all the ideas flow. And so a 3-day weekend with runs outside means like
Lights
Tuesday is
watch out,
just shot out of a cannon. So let's go.
Watch out. I mean, we're super pumped anyway, because we are launching tickets to ASOTUCon today. Today, within hours. Tickets will be live for ASOTUCon, but the only people that are going to get the link are the people that signed up for the pre-registration, and you still can. That's the good news. If you go to ASOTUCon.com and sign up for the pre-reg, you will still get the email launch when the tickets go live, and we have limited tickets. It's going to sell out. I know we say that, and we mean it, and it will. So get on the pre-registration list.
I'll be fine. I'm telling you.
Well, you'll be sad is what you'll be. You'll be sad is what you'll be.
Paul, here, real quick, because we covered this, I found, we said this, I don't know if we said this Friday or yesterday when we were on with Cirillo, but by the way, we did have a 4th of July podcast episode. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it, because we do a little comparison of Canada Day and the 4th of July from the perspective of a Canadian who now lives in the US. It's a lot of fun. Yes. Exactly. Well, no. So I was just reminiscing on the fact that it's been a year since our families first met, and man, just the craziness.
Look at this picture.
I threw the photo up. Look at them young guns a whole year ago. Our kids, like, I feel like every single one of our kids looks different. And so yeah, it was just this weekend was so full of everything, including reminiscing, and it's just, I feel like the last weekend for a lot of people is a launch pad into the second half of the year, right?
Yep.
It's almost like everybody's been, I've even read this in the stock market. Everyone's kind of been like waiting on this start to this week, similar to how you would wait on a new year. It's like the chance to hit a reset button. Right?
It really does feel like that. We have a few troublemaker alum, as we call them, people that have been in our ecosystem for quite a while, that we kind of see out and about. And I want to give props to our man, Glenn Lundy, who restarted his 5:30 a.m. morning show today. It was called Rise and Grind. Now it's, I think it's like GT3X. I'll figure out what that means, and I'll come back and tell you. But I just saw his live notification pop up this morning, and I logged in, and man, he is just a person that takes away all our excuses, because he's live streaming a show at 5:30 a.m. that he woke up at 3:20 a.m. to prep. So good to have you back out there. Good to know, Glenn, that you're out there this morning, and I can't wait to tune in the morning, because
it was like episode 1002, which is 8 months from episode 1000, right?
I missed 1001. I was there live when he did episode 1000 and closed it out. I missed one episode, but dang.
I don't know. I don't know if it was Monday or last Friday. I'm not sure.
Maybe it was Monday.
I'm sure we could find it. So.
Also, our good friend Erica Tiffany Wells was on the front homepage of Automotive News website today with Ashley Church. They're doing a 40 under 40 Q&A on there. So it was just cool to see their faces when I logged on this morning. And hey, troublemakers got to make trouble. You know what I mean? And they're making trouble on the front page of Automotive News today. So give them a little shout out. We have some news to talk about because that's what we do on the show. We try to bring you a little perspective to what we see out there. This story really got me thinking.
Real quick, because it's a start to the year. Okay. This is like a minute. Hang with me.
All right. It starts.
Why do we talk about the news every day? Right?
Oh, it's calibration question. I like this.
Yeah, because there's news everywhere. You've got news resources. I mean, you can log onto your computer and be like this close to news really quickly. One, there's too much. So we try and move it down to things that you can pay attention to. Two, is there's perspective and connection that's required when you take in the news. If you only passively take in what's happening around you and do not allow it to impact what you're doing on the ground level or in your business or in your personal life, then what is the news there? It's just noise, right? And so what we're trying to do is reduce the noise and bring intentionality to the way that you approach the world's news or problems or market forces or anything like that, and push it into an intentionality that drives business profitability and results instead of drives fear or anxiety or anything like that, because that's what the majority of the news does.
No.
And so our goal is to turn your attention correctly on the news each morning, and we only take 2 or 3 topics, and you might read 10 or 12 or 15 today, but maybe reclassifying the way you approach the news every day is something that we want to offer you in these few minutes. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because we do this on a day in, day out basis, and sometimes connecting the dots as to why is really important.
That's a great calibration. And if you're a dealer, right, we hope that you can share this with your team and have a center point of conversation, right? You can't talk about everything, but you can talk about a few things in a deep manner. And if you're an industry partner, these are stories that we think are relevant to retail auto, even if they're not specifically about retail auto. So hopefully these are some thought starters within your organization or to share with the dealers that you are trying to serve, as we all try to serve this industry together. I love that calibration. So that being said, let's talk about the Federal Reserve, because that's an exciting topic these days.
So thrilling.
I read an amazing Wall Street Journal article this morning that says the consumer's inflation psychology, so the way consumers are thinking about inflation, actually impacts the Federal Reserve's decision-making about interest rates. Here's the premise. People's expectations of future inflation, so what you and I and all the other people out there think about what's likely to happen with inflation in all of our different levels of education and understanding about inflation, right? This is just a great leveler. It takes someone who knows nothing about economics with someone who knows everything about economics. It polls everybody and it says, where do people think inflation will be in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years? And based on that data, right, our behaviors change. So it's like this. If I think inflation is going to be really high next year, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask for a raise. I'm going to raise the prices of my products. I'm going to try to hedge. If I'm a landlord, I'm going to ask for higher rents now. And what that actually does is makes inflation go up, right? So, you follow tracking with me?
There's this old saying, it's perception is reality, right? Yeah. And none truer than when we perceive the world one way, that reality happens in that way. And it sounds like what the Fed is trying to do is curb the perception by adjusting the reality based on the interest rates. Am I hearing that right?
It's pretty tricky, apparently. So, and it makes sense why it's tricky. So, so if the Fed raises rates, right, too quickly, what happens is people think inflation is going out of control. They react to it more, and then inflation actually will be likely to increase even more. So in order to increase rates more slowly, they actually risk inflation going up. So if you're hearing me right, they're in a really tight spot. So it's like if we raise them too fast, inflation can go up. If we raise them too slow, inflation can go up. So there's not much of a win here, but they really benchmark back into the 70s and 80s. And they say, look, there are some things that happened there that we went too fast, too far, and it actually made it worse. So they're trying to thread the needle here. And so I think for us, the important part is that we are just aware of what is going on, because little calibration moment. Do you remember? Oh, I don't remember. I was born in 79, but interest rates actually hit 18.45% for a 30-year mortgage, Kyle.
That's nuts.
We're like, oh, it's at 5%, 6%. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? We just never saw it. But on the flip side, you could actually make somewhere around the same amount in a certificate of deposit or a savings account. Can you imagine a savings account pumping you out 15% interest? Right?
Yeah, not 0.5% or whatever.
So I know that's a bit of a complicated thing for the morning, but thinking about consumer mindset, thinking about what's going to happen. No one knows what inflation is going to do. No one knows what recessions. John Floyd just commented, he remembers. Thanks, John. Here's the deal. Being a great and efficient operator is probably the only inflation-proof thing you can do with your business and your dealership.
Absolutely. And stressed on efficiency, right?
Yes.
Because efficiency is your margin. Actually, and we're going to talk about this a lot tomorrow, but Steve Greenfield in his newsletter was talking everything about efficiency in his opening, and how efficiency plays a role in whether or not you survive in the agency model, if that ever comes to pass. Efficiency plays a role as margins are squeezed. All of those types of things. Being an efficient business operator is extremely crucial to long-term success, whether it be in a recession or a boom or a bear market, whatever it may be. That's the measure of success.
Yeah, we're a little. Who was saying it? What was the drunk on what? Drunk on profit? Like
drunk on profit.
Brian
Benstock's
hitting that, right? And yeah, if you haven't listened to last Friday's All Things Used Cars, it's an insane room. Probably one of the best we've ever had. But here's the deal. Good times create bad habits, right? And while there's a lot of money flowing around, valuations are high, we're likely to let the little things slide, right? Which efficiency goes down when all the profits are there. But we're getting back to a time when we think marketing efficiency, operational efficiency, hiring efficiency, employee retention, right? All these things are going to matter more and more and more and more. So the sun is still shining, right? The sun's still shining. Work on your efficiency. That's what we're saying today. That's our takeaway. All right. Enough Federal Reserve and psychology. I know that was like a big, heavy one from our Tuesday. Shoot. First half of the year. But we got to calibrate. Let's talk about something a little more fun. Well, maybe not so fun for Chevy.
Well, but not for Chevy. Oh man. So Chevy launched an NFT?
They did. And I heard about this morning. I didn't know this was coming until this morning, which is probably part of the problem.
You got it. You go.
Okay. It was probably part of the problem. Sorry, I got things popping up on my screen and nonsense going on. So Chevy was like, hey, the NFTs are hot. We're getting in this NFT game. We're going to show everyone how in touch we are with this. And so they launched an NFT who was created by an artist named Nick Sulo, famous or like NFT artist famous, and produced this, really cool kind of what you would expect, like an electric green Corvette, like busting through this cyberpunk scene. Is pretty awesome. And the trick is, like, when you buy this NFT, you don't just get the piece of art, you actually get the car. So they created a custom colored Z06 that if you get this NFT, the car goes with it. It's got some cool features. The VIN number is in binary, so it's zeros and ones, right? Because blockchain's in binary. That's cool.
Right.
The color of the car is called minted green. It's the only car or Z06 they did in that color from the factory. So it's a one of one. They gave the car a special code, so it's always knows that this is a one-on-one. And they released bidding, and they opened it up, and nobody bid on the car or on the NFT. And then they were like, oh, you know what? That was from June 20th through 24th. And then they were like, you know what? We think some people missed the bidding, right? Like all the people missed the bidding. So they released the bidding again for they opened it up for another 24 hours. And you know how many bids they got? Zero bids for the Z06, we'll call it. And I couldn't find what the starting price was for the NFT. I'm assuming there was a starting price, because if not, somebody would have been like, 1 penny, And so we got a quote from Trevor Tompkins, a spokesperson for Chevy. He shrugged off the disappointment. He said, our first step into Web3 has been educational. And we'll continue educational. That's the way to put it. And we'll continue to explore to leverage this technology to benefit our customers. So, Kyle, what do you think went wrong here? Right? What do you think went wrong?
This is a simple answer to me.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Very simple answer. And it's like most of my learning in the NFT space comes from Gary Vee, right? And what I've realized is that NFTs, like whether it be Bored Apes or any level of NFT, is predicated on either newly established community or already established community transitioning into further community, right? So they did one of two things wrong. Either they didn't recognize the community that they were after and what that community needed to be a part of this, or they don't actually have community at all. Now, I don't think that's true because the Corvette community is very, very strong, right? Mm-hmm. And so my question is did they under or overestimate the community's attention on NFTs?
Yes.
Because if I know something, I know the average demographic of a Z06 owner, right? Or
isn't
a Corvette
isn't 23.
Bingo.
I think that, I think they were a little bit out of touch. I think this is where the popularity of NFTs kind of took the wheel, and it shows all of us that just releasing an NFT is not a predetermined recipe for success, no matter how big you are. I mean, Corvette is a legendary brand. It's very, very old, right? It's very established. There are millions of people that are Corvette enthusiasts in the world, and they couldn't get one person to bid on this. I think that the overlap, I think they didn't realize they needed to, like you said, go deeper into an avenue of their community, and they didn't promote it. They didn't cultivate community around NFTs in the way NFT community is cultivated, which is in Discord and in live rooms and in the ways that people would get excited. So I think there was just a miss in the overlap of the actual value.
Yeah, here's the other piece of this is like the ability to transfer it much harder, right? Yeah. If I've got an enthusiast California enthusiast meets German enthusiast, and now I got to get that car there because now since I own the NFT, I own the car, right? Future state. Or and then also is like actually creating like one-of-one type stuff where there's no community around it. It's not like the 20 Z06s that all had a unique thing that now these 20 people now get access to the Corvette vacation in Abu Dhabi, or whatever, right? You actually take a community and go exclusionary with it because you force them to go one-of-one.
I think if they released it not as an NFT, it probably would have sold. If they were like, we're releasing a one-of-one. Couple personal comments. I'm not speaking on behalf of ASOTU. I think it's ugly. I think if they made it some kind of hollow color with a glitch in it, something that was like technology driven, like the electric greens, like you gotta like it, you love it or you hate it. Like there's no middle ground.
That's it. That's straight up out of a video game, right?
Yeah, I think they'll retool. I think they'll ask some people that know what they're doing about NFTs and like do a little better next time. Wink. And I also think that a dealer really missed an opportunity here because I think a dealer should have bought it. They would have had it in inventory, and then they would be able to get the majority of the value off of the first NFT. If a dealer that understood NFTs was paying attention, they would have bought it. So that's what we think. Well, speaking of finding your way through a new technological world.
Stop. Segue.
Time. We need a segue.
I saw this article. This was, we needed a segue. We needed that little energy, that little pop. I saw this article and found it really interesting. And it's not like that crazy or that much of just an article, but Tesla, in a new update, is coming out with this Tesla adaptive suspension system. And one of the primary pieces of the feature of that system that it's going to allow is recognizing road damage and potholes and recreating maps around that and they're calling them micro maps. So it's down to like the lane, it looks like, of what you're traveling in, so that a car could potentially, like, you're on a highway, it sees a pothole, it would know to change lanes prior to coming to that pothole, or adjust the suspension. So like in its type of comfort or rugged ride, it would adjust the suspension or adjust the height of the vehicle, so that you don't have any grounding out, right, if there was a larger issue in the road damage. So really interesting that that's just a really cool feature, I think, that is going to be available with all of the camera and vehicle technology that's built into some of these new EVs. But this is and I'm just going to move right to the takeaway, because I think it's really important. And this is more global than just this particular feature, is that, you know, when I was selling cars, it was like, does that car have Bluetooth, or does the one over there have Bluetooth? Right. That was kind of, you know, whatever those technology features were, just kind of the competitive matrix of, does, like, comparing this Toyota to this Mazda, or this Nissan to this Honda, right? How do I know whether or not we have the leg up? And just educating your people and your customers on a whole nother level of technology, and recognizing the speed at which that technology can change because of over-the-air updates is going to be really important to understanding, like, how you communicate competitive analysis to customers and employees in this new sales environment. So I just wanted to like boom, there's the news story, but really relating it down is, it's going to be a whole new matrix that we have to approach in a sales environment.
Gosh, can you imagine if they connect that with the DOT? That'll never happen. That'll never happen.
Like, hey,
it'll
fill that pothole.
Right. That'll never happen. That'll never
They
happen.
could text someone. They could text someone.
They could, but they won't. So thank you for spending a little time with us, and what we claim to be the unofficial start to the new year, halfway through the year. Let's get ready to make some trouble, because it's time to go.